Hey, what's up? Improvement Warrior. Jason Yan back with you again. Welcome back to Improvement Warrior Podcast. Trying this introduction for the third time. It's quite annoying, but again, welcome back to the Improvement Warrior Podcast. This is episode number 81. And if you are new here, this is the podcast where we go into alternative health even more than the alternative health practitioners. So we talk about mitochondrial health, circadian rhythm, circadian health, hormonal health, cold thermogenesis, grounding, DHA, all that stuff, why you shouldn't be taking as many supplements as people recommend, all that stuff. We still talk about nutrition, we still talk about fitness, but we talk about it in a different way, in a circadian way, because if the timing in you breaks down, then you will break down. The timing in you is the most important thing, and it doesn't matter what other people say. That's the most important thing. So, again, if you are new here, go make sure you are on the newsletter, improvementwarriorfitness.com/NL. And today's podcast, we kind of take a little detour. So this is a interview that I have with Dr. Joel Pash. So I get a lot of interview requests, and most of them are just complete bullshit, just people trying to hawk their supplements and other things. So I always say no to them. But this one caught my eye because Dr. Joel is a penile enlarger. So yes, he does. He enlarges penises. And so we went into an interesting conversation. So if you are interested, we don't talk about anything quantum health, circadian, mitochondria, anything like that. So it's just, if you are interested in learning about penile enlargements, this is the podcast for you. And share it out if you know anybody who wants their penis enlarged. And it's not the typical people who you would think, like people with small penises and whatnot. He does have those people, but most of his clientele is different. We went into all that stuff. So it's an interesting conversation. But some other things going on in the world on planet Earth. Within the last week, I think it was last Monday, RFK, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the HHS secretary, came out and declared that the number one cause of autism is Tylenol. So not the yabba dabba jabbas. I knew they wouldn't throw those jabs under the bus because that is their $1 trillion baby. It basically leads them, or leads the people who get them, into every other industry, just making them basically non-human addicts and whatnot. So, but there is a trend that has been going on since the announcement came out, because Trump came out, made a video saying, don't take Tylenol, no Tylenol, blah, 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 blah. So people who obviously hate Trump and hate RFK and hate everything that the campaign stands for, started taking Tylenol, these pregnant women. And one woman went on complete liver failure, and her baby died, and she went on a ventilator, and she eventually died. So basically 3 lives ruined because of basically hate of one person. And remember, whoever you voted for, I don't really care. It doesn't really matter because both parties are controlled by the unelected officials. So the Soroses, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, all those people that we do not see. And they're going to allow each campaign, each whatever you call it, to do certain things. And then they're also going to do certain things to F us up. Okay, which I'll go into one of them that is coming up here pretty soon. But yeah, I mean, Trump and RFK didn't obviously make up the stat that Tylenol is bad. Tylenol is bad. It's one of the things you should never, ever take, even if you are not pregnant. There are plenty of ways to do what Tylenol does naturally. But I know when I was a kid, I used to go through that stuff like candy, like literally. I played sick a lot when I was a kid, because that usually meant a day or 2 or 3 at grandma's house. And those little purple Tylenol wafers, I mean, I would chop them down. And also the cherry cough syrup. So I'm surprised I wasn't more sick than I actually was. Um, but Trump and RFK didn't come out with the information. It's a study from Harvard, and Tylenol actually came out in 2017 saying that we do not recommend any pregnant women take any of our products at any time. So it's just people being stupid, and that's what you're basically going to get. You're going to get stupid people doing stupid things because they don't know any better. But yeah, don't take Tylenol ever. Okay, so plenty of other ways to get yourself better. And because I know it's a fever reducer, but fever is a good thing. Okay, so fever helps you. When you get a fever, you're supposed to naturally fight it. Don't fight it with over-the-counter drugs and stuff that is not supposed to naturally lower it and whatnot. Other things going on is organ donation. So I don't know if you know, but in the United States, a lot of hospitals and whatnot, they will actually they will either try to save your life or they will try to get you ready for organ preservation. And the two are not the same. So I took myself off of the organ donation list. And some people are getting mad that I did because like, what if people actually need your organs? If people actually need my organs and they're in my family, I would consider it. I would consider who the person is. If they're living a shitty lifestyle, I ain't giving you my fucking organs. Yeah, so yeah, but I mean, if it's like one of my kids or something, then I'll volunteer. Okay, but what they're doing is they're basically either preparing you, so they decide who it's going to be, and it's not going to be like the 60, 70, 80-year-old person, because they don't need those organs. They need the younger people who have better organs. Yeah, because I listened to a podcast on the Danny Jones show, and she said that the lady on there said there is approximately I forget how many, like 800 million or close to 1 billion people missing in China. Because if you can't get an organ here in the United States, you can basically just go overseas to China, and within 2 to 3 weeks, bam, you've got your organ. So it's kind of like they have people lined up to just give you that stuff. So it was very, very interesting conversation. Yeah. So, but what I did was I went into the DMV and I asked to be removed, but apparently I wasn't in the renewal state where I can renew my license to get it off of my actual license. So they gave me a little form, and you have to send that form in. It's the same form that you fill out to get on to the organ donation registry. There's just a box where you click, take me off of this fucking list, which I clicked and sent in. And then on my license, I scratched out the organ donation with a Sharpie and then wrote not an organ donor, check registry anymore. Because anything you write on the license, because that is a contract, anything that is written on a contract supersedes what is typed on a contract. So I didn't know if you knew that or not, but one thing that they are trying to do with the license is the real ID. And what you want to do is do not accept the real ID, because that is basically, that's one of the things that they're trying to put us into, like communist China. So if we do something bad, they're going to turn your car off, or they're going to turn your lights off, or you're not going to be able to use your credit card, your debit card to buy groceries or whatnot, and all this stuff. So say no to the real ID. And watched the video earlier, I think it was today, where the UK said that by the end of this parliament, so I have no idea how long parliament is or whatnot, I'm assuming the next 1 or 2 or 3 years it will end. If you do not have a real ID in the UK, you cannot work. And then I saw something right before I started this in the province of Alberta in Canada. They're basically doing the same thing. So they want to control you, and we need to be uncontrollable, because I mean it's getting ridiculous. We want to have freedom. We want to have the ultimate freedom, And so all these things, I mean, if you have your driver's license, that really puts you into the jurisdiction of the United States, which is a corporation, which basically owns you and all that stuff. But I downloaded a good video from Dan Smoot from the 1950s, who goes over the 14th Amendment and why it is complete and utter bullshit. It was never actually ratified. And so it's, if you're a 14th Amendment citizen, which I am in the process of removing that citizenship to become a state national, a state citizen of Ohio State and not the state of Ohio, because those are two different entities. Okay. But I don't want to get too much into that. But that's it for the introduction. It was a little long one, but here we go with Dr. Joel Pash, the penile enlarger. Send it out, share it out to anybody that you feel is looking for this stuff. But otherwise, I'll catch you later. Don't forget to rate and review the podcast. We're always looking for those 5-star reviews on Apple and Spotify. And if you do want to support the podcast further, become a member on Patreon, improvementwarriorfitness.com/Patreon. But otherwise, here is the episode number 81 with Dr. Joel.
Hey, what's up, Improvement Warrior? Jason Yun back with you again. Welcome back to the podcast. We are in for a treat today as we have a special guest, Dr. Joel Pash. How you doing, Joel?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So a little bit about Joel. He is the co-founder of the Upsize Clinic. And it's a very good name, as you'll find out, and the medical director of its San Francisco location. He completed medical school at Midwestern University in 2006, went on to complete residency in anesthesiology at the University of Calgary, and since finishing his residency in 2011, he has performed thousands of complex injectable procedures, including nerve blocks, epidural and spinal injections, intravenous and arterial catheters, and penile injections. He's published academic papers on the subjects such as operating room management and pain management, and he's on the staff at several hospitals in Northern California, as well as the 2 Upsize clinic locations. And I brought him on podcast because he is an expert in penile enlargements. And I found that fascinating. I didn't know that there was such a demand for it. But Dr. Joel, can you basically share your journey and what got you to focus on penile enlargements?
Yeah, so I'll start by saying that like 4 years ago, I didn't know there was such a thing as this either, just like you. I've been an anesthesiologist in practice since 2011. And about 4 years ago, I was actually introduced to my friend's brother, who's a cosmetic surgeon, who's my business partner now. His name's Jack Friedlander in Sacramento. And so we got together, and maybe it's not a super exciting story, but he had moved into a new office, and we were kind of he had extra space, and we were kind of looking for something that we could do there. Originally, I was thinking about doing hair transplants, and just in the process of doing that, you meet certain people and whatnot. And this marketing guy that I met had a client that was doing penile enlargements, and I was just like you. I said, "What? Like, tell me more about this. I didn't even know this was a thing in any capacity." So, anyways, I went home, told my wife, and I was kind of like, I don't want to look at a bunch of dick pics, so would you mind doing it for me? And so she said, okay. And she came back, a half hour later and said, yeah, it actually looks legit. It looks like this is a real thing. And so that's how it started, and then just the journey of trying to figure out how to do it. So that took a little while. It's not something that I learned in medical school or residency, and it's not easy to find someone to teach you. And then things kind of grew pretty quickly. By the time I started doing it, within 3 months of starting, I had 2 offices. So I started in Roseville, which is a suburb of Sacramento. Within a few months, we had an office in San Francisco, which now I work at. I would say within 6 months, we had a guy that signed up to work with us in Los Angeles. And now 3.5 years later or so, we've got 25 clinics that are affiliates of us.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I'm sure with so you're in California. Do you know the demographics of like a place where I am, like Ohio? Is it big here, or is it big everywhere that you know of?
Well, I wouldn't say it's big anywhere really, in the sense that just like you had never heard of this until yesterday, and I hadn't, if I wasn't actually the guy doing this, I still wouldn't have heard of this. So, just to be perfectly honest, but it's popular in the sense that when I first started, no one had ever heard of it, and now it's like there's some media out there, and for example, these kind of podcasts are media in themselves, but there's newspaper articles, and you'll hear stuff on the radio, for example, or and there's competing practices and stuff. So every city in the United States has a few places that's doing this now, and I would think we have one in Concord, Ohio. The doctor's name's David Smith.
Okay.
My guess would be that he is doing the most in the Cleveland area compared to anyone else. But I wouldn't say it's like, there's probably thousands of women getting breast implants every month in Cleveland, and there's certainly not that many getting this done. But it is growing.
What's the typical demographic of somebody that's getting this done?
The average age that I see in my office, I would say, is between 35 and 55.
Okay.
I certainly have patients that are 80, and I have the odd patient that's 20 or so. The limiting factor usually in young people is that it's fairly expensive compared to a lot of other things that you might do when you're 20 years old, for example.
Okay.
So it's not common, right, that a 20-year-old can, has the resources to do it. And then I think that not to, 80-year-olds actually have a lot of sex. Don't get me wrong, but I think that, and you learn that, by the way, when you're in medical school and working in the hospital and stuff. You don't think they do, but they're actually having a pretty good time.
Okay.
Well, a lot of times. Having said that, they're usually by the time you're 80, you're kind of just like whatever you've got. You're kind of used to that, right?
Uh-huh.
So I don't see a lot of 80-year-olds, but we do see a few. But mostly 35 to 55 guys like that are at the peak of their careers and success and all that, and maybe looking to have some fun, or some, maybe their partner or their wife had something done, and it's that kind of thing.
And now a quick message from one of our sponsors.
Colon cancer is the number 2 most diagnosed cancer and the number 2 killer of all cancers in the United States. In 1900, it was number 37th of all killers of cancer. Do you really want to be putting your phone in your pocket, not on airplane mode, and not protected in an EMF case? I don't think you do. Defender Shield is one of the cases that I highly recommend. You can check them out at improvementwarriorfitness.com/Defender Shield. Even if you have an EMF case, you still never, ever, never, ever, never, ever put your phone on your head. That is just idiotic. And it is good practice to get into to never put a mobile RF microwave emitting device on your head. Protect your body, protect your heart, protect your brain, protect your mitochondria. It's all you got. Check him out, Defender Shield, improvementwarriorfitness.com/Defender Shield. These are also the kids' blue blockers that we use as well. And they have other products as well. I'm sure you're going to love it. Have a great day. Check out Defender Shield.
And now a quick message from one of our sponsors.
More and more companies are coming out with blue light free options to help us become and eliminate blue light from our life. And one company that I have recently just got is my Daylight computer. It is a tablet and I absolutely love it. So blue light free. When you're inside it's more amber. When you take it outside it's more black and white. But it is awesome. I use it every single day. And yeah, the only thing I can't do with it, it does not have video capabilities, so I still need my other computers for that, but otherwise this thing is a game changer. And I actually get more sunlight with it because now I can just take my Ethernet cord very easily. Instead of having to take my laptop or my desktop, I take it out to the back porch so I can get late UVA and sunset, so even more sunshine. But blue light free computer, it is not EMF free, but it does connect to Wi-Fi, but we don't use the Wi-Fi, we use the Ethernet. And the other awesome thing is my kids love it too, so it's another way that I can get them outside for more sunlight. Check it out, Daylight Computer, improvementwarriorfitness.com/daylight. You will not regret it. And use code IMPROVEMENTWARRIOR.
You mentioned in the email that there are a lot of like fly-by-night kind of procedures and whatnot, or places doing this. So what are the potential risks associated with these procedures and what can go bad and all that stuff?
Yeah, so the procedure that we do is dermal filler procedure. So it's the what most people will be familiar with is lip injections, mostly women getting that, obviously. So they take hyaluronic acid filler, which is commercially available, kind of FDA approved filler, and inject it in the lips. And so we're injecting it in the penis, off label, so not FDA approved for putting it in the penis. But it's when you're talking about something injectable, kind of like anyone can do it, right? I mean, you just need some needles and some filler. That doesn't mean they can safely do it or that you want to go see that person, but the barrier to entry is a lot lower than a full surgery, right? Where you would clearly need like an anesthesiologist and an operating room and all that kind of stuff. So I guess what you'll see is just kind of, it's pretty common to have med spas, for example, that just have a website with a laundry list of 10,000 different things that they do. Be it like laser hair removal, skin tightening, Botox, lip filler, and then they'll just throw like a penis filler category in there. And so in my experience, those places have just not done very many procedures. They can't have possibly done very many. And So your risk of going somewhere like that is that you're just probably not going to be happy with the results, because with any medical procedure, whether it's a surgery or just an injection, there's the main determinant of whether someone's good at it is usually how many they've done. So if you're getting spine surgery, for example, you want the guy that's done 1,000 of them, not like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then there's the more rare things where it's like some guy with like a briefcase with some stuff in it, and he just shows up in Texas, and gets off an airplane and like ejects people, leave, and no one sees them again. I mean, you'll read stories of that happening, but that's obviously less common.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. So it is always just a filler. You're not taking tissue from some other place and putting it down there.
Correct. So there's many different ways that you could increase the size of the penis. Most of them are pretty dangerous, and if not, at a minimum, they're just invasive and not some, in my opinion, not something that you'd want to do, so, or that the average person would want to do. So the reason that we do it this way is it's very simple. It's a hyaluronic acid filler that's naturally occurring in your body anyways. It's reversible with an enzyme if you want to the results to go away for whatever reason, or if you, in a rare chance, had a complication. So because of that, because we're not like cutting anything or, like you said, inserting weird tissue or removing stuff or grafting like arteries and nerves and stuff like that, it's very safe. It's the process takes 45 minutes or so. There's virtually no pain during it. There's very quick, if any, recovery period.
Okay. Wow. Okay. But what would you say are the most common misconceptions that you have encountered about penile enlargement?
Well, the most common misconception would probably be that it's a bunch of guys come in with small penises, right? And or with self-esteem issues. And certainly that could happen, right? I mean,
yeah.
I've done over 1,000 procedures, so I've seen everything, but that's not really the most common reason people come in. Most guys by definition have just normal anatomy, right? Like there's some range of a normal size, and it's whether it's 4 inches long or 8 inches long, or whether it's like 3.5 inches thick or 6 inches thick, they're all fine, right? They're all usable. So usually it's guys that they're just curious. They want to try something new. Maybe they want to have some more fun. Some guys maybe have some self-esteem issues, but it's not like, this isn't a thing where it's like a necessary medical procedure where you have like a non-functional thing and I'm fixing it. It's a purely cosmetic enhancement.
Okay. Cool. Any funny stories that you can tell?
I have lots of funny stories. I have, a whole slew of different types of patients. To our earlier point we just covered, it's usually normal people, but of course someone that comes and does this oftentimes has like an interesting twist to what's going on. Like I have porn guys for sure. I have a handful of those, so they've all got good stories. But then I have like, teachers and pediatricians and auto glass repair guys and like whatever, right? Like just the normal people you see. So, good stories. One of my favorite guys was, one of my favorite patients is a guy named, I guess I can't tell you his name.
It's okay.
Can't tell you his name, but I have this one guy, and he's actually an 80-year-old guy, and he came in and he kept saying, "Doctor, I need a bigger cock. I need a bigger cock." That's what he said, right? And I don't get a lot of guys to refer to it that way, but I'm like, okay, yeah, sir, like whatever you need, right? And he says, money's no issue, just as big as you possibly can, right? So like, okay, so I start, we work out some plan, and I'm giving him as big as we possibly can, and of course costs more money for more size because it's more filler.
Yeah.
So we do the thing, and he's telling me how So he's like literally 80 years old, and he's telling me how his girlfriend's a prostitute, and he thinks that it's his girlfriend's a hooker, but whatever, right? I'm going with it, and so we do this whole thing, and he's telling me all these stories, and we finish up, and I sit down and I go, so let's just schedule the follow up here, right? And he goes, okay. So I look in the calendar and I go, so what, are you free to come in maybe like May 24th or whatever the date was? And he looks and he's like, no, he goes, because I got to go to church, man. So he's like, yeah, I'm not free that day, right? So it's like you never know who you're getting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, do you have any advice for someone who's had a negative experience with this procedure? What they can do?
But I see like all kinds of guys that have gone to places that, like, competing kind of places, or maybe places where the doctor has less experience. And the common thing, like, it's pretty safe, like I alluded to before. It's like, even if you go to someone that's only done it 3 times, like, they're probably not going to harm you. It's just not going to look good. So yeah, we get some people where it just doesn't look very good, and they call us, and it's like, it's an emergency. I need to come in to fix something. And the advice is, like, first of all, if you are going to go see not me or one of the people I've trained, who are the ones I can vouch for, make sure you're getting a non-permanent filler put in, which is the type of fillers that we use. Because if you get something permanent put in and you don't like the results, then you're kind of screwed, right? You're going to have surgery to get it removed. And then I can't help you, and really no one can help you. But if you do go somewhere and you get a temporary filler, or like what we like to call a semi-permanent filler put in, and you don't like the results, don't worry about it. Just book an appointment with us or with someone else reputable, and as long as it's a dissolvable semi-permanent filler, it could be fixed. It can be dissolved or added to or whatever. So for those people that may have had something that didn't go the way they wanted it to, hope that's helpful.
Yeah, interesting. So does it do anything to the sensitivity?
Not directly. It shouldn't affect the sensitivity negatively, because we're not injecting near any major nerves or anything like that. And we're using, either a small needle or a small micro cannula, it's called, which kind of looks like a needle. So to the extent that there would be any change in sensation, it's usually actually better. And the reason being that if you're making something bigger, right, then it's just like filling that space better, and so there's more sensation for everyone. But you're not like cutting anything where you'd be cutting nerves or anything like that.
Okay. Interesting. So do you see more circumcised people versus non?
Well, I think in the United States, most people are circumcised.
Yeah.
So, but like most people that were of certain cultures, like people are not circumcised, or of immigrants from certain countries, right? So like of people that were born in the United States, it's like, 85% circumcised or something. But then of people that maybe weren't born here, it's like 0%. So I would say 60% circumcised and 40% not. And of course, that's going to depend on what part of the country you're in, right? Like in California, like I think something like 40% of the state wasn't born in the United States. So obviously, you have vastly different demographics than if you're in probably Ohio, where you are.
Yeah. That's that. So I have a daughter and a son. My son, as far as parenting goes, that's still the biggest regret that I have with my son is circumcising you. Have you seen like the documentaries on that at all or anything like that?
Well, so you regret that you did circumcise him?
Yes, that I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want my opinion on that, it's that you shouldn't regret it at all. I I have a son too, and it's something I thought about, and I did a lot of so being a doctor and a father, as you know, you're a father too. You obviously don't want to do something harmful to your son, so you looked into it just like I did. And I discuss it with a lot of urologists, and there are a lot of benefits to doing it that, at least in my opinion, like outweighed the risks of it. The risks are pretty low, right? And there's some thought of like sensitivity changes and stuff like that. But the evidence actually is that the most important thing for me was that women in North America prefer circumcised penises. So if no other reason other than that, it's like, that's a good reason, right? At least I thought so. And then there's like a decreased incidence of certain types of cancers. And so there's like, you can get penile cancers. And so there's decreased incidence of that. And there's a less chance of getting certain STDs. And less chance of certain types of infections. When you're older, sometimes you get what's called phimosis, where like the foreskin kind of gets stuck and you need surgery for that. So there's all kinds of like...
Okay.
So anyways, don't feel bad about it. You're talking to a fairly like researched expert here that did the same thing and whatever. And plus, if they ever want to get penis filler, it's a lot easier if they're circumcised. So
really? Okay.
There's that too.
All right. Okay. Well, is there anything that I've not asked you or we've not covered that you want to get a final
No, I think we had a pretty good like synopsis of everything. Obviously, we could talk about it for hours, but I would say if for a listener that's listening or watching this podcast, this is becoming a thing that like more and more people are doing. And like I said, it's normal people. You can see just by talking to, just by watching this, I'm a normal guy, at least fairly normal. And don't hesitate to reach out to us and book an appointment and come in and see what we can do, whether it's an ED injection, which we can do, or like a full enlargement procedure. Straightforward, not much pain, and I think everyone would be surprised how straightforward it is. We have clinics now in like over 20 cities in the United States, so there's probably one near you.
Okay. Well, for those who are interested learning more about it, where do they go? What's website?
Excuse me. So we have a few websites. If you're in the United States, upsizematters.com. So UPSIZE and then matters.com. If you're in Canada, it's upsizematters.ca. If you happen to be a doctor that wants to be trained on doing the procedure, you can go to a website called Urosculpt, which is UROCULPT.com. And we train doctors, nurse practitioners, physician assistants, and that kind of thing. Also, if you go to upsizematters.com, there's some information on training there as well.
Okay. I'll put all those in the show notes. And is there a place that they can follow you personally? Are you on social media or anything like that?
I am not a huge social media guy. We do have couple social media accounts. We have Instagram, which is Instagram/Upsize Matters, and I think we have TikTok, which is I think also /Upsize Matters.
Okay.
And then for I guess if anyone wants to book an appointment, once you're on the website, there's all kinds of ways you can get in touch with us. There's a text us button, and that goes to a real guy that it's like SMS texting. You can do anything, so it's not like a chat bot or anything like that. And you can obviously send us emails and web form submissions and phone calls as well.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I will put all those links in the show notes. And yeah, this has been a very interesting conversation, Joel. Thank you very much for coming on the Improvement Warrior podcast. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you very much.
It was fun. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right. Hold on one second here.
And now a quick message from one of our sponsors.
I have gotten off so many supplements since finding Dr. Cruz and his work in 2018. It's ridiculous. But one that I still take and recommend is magnesium. The big thing with magnesium is that different types of magnesium are uptaken by different parts of the body and organs. So, there is a variant with people's responses depending on what they need magnesium for and how deficient they are to begin with. Magnesium deficiency is just as big, if not bigger, than vitamin D deficiency. And a big reason why is magnesium is needed for the conversion step in vitamin D. So what they did at BioOptimizers and Magnesium Breakthrough is they combined the top 7 forms of magnesium in one capsule. Magnesium is a downregulator for the nervous system to relax and leave us from that flight or fight world of stress that is especially caused by blue light and electro pollution that we are all affected by, no matter how much we biohack. It is also critical for vasodilation, increased blood flow. Any pain or problems in certain tissues, it's because not enough oxygen is getting there. Remember, all disease and ultimately death is a state of hypoxia, or lack of oxygen. The goal of electron chain transport is to move the electrons through cytochromes and reduce to oxygen. It's also super important for sleep and, again, for vitamin D production. Overall, there are over 300 reactions that magnesium is directly and indirectly responsible for. I used to usually just take one form of magnesium for a month and then switch to another form, but taking this is so much better. You can check it out at improvementwarriorfitness.com/magnesium for a 10% discount off your order. There's also a 100% money-back guarantee. If it is not the best magnesium supplement you have ever taken, return it for a full refund. But I know you're going to love it. If you would like to support this podcast, then please visit me on Patreon to become a patron of Improvement Warrior Podcast. The podcast may be free for you, but it definitely is not free for me. So even if it's just $1 pledge or $3 or $50, I would greatly appreciate it. Just search on Patreon for Improvement Warrior or go to patreon.com/Improvement Warrior. It will also be listed in the show notes along with other ways to support the show via our sponsors or either via PayPal or Anchor support.
Thank you for listening all the way through to this episode of Improvement Warrior Podcast. Do me a favor, if you are not subscribed to Improvement Warrior Podcast, hit the subscribe button right now. And if you have not left a review, we would love to hear from you. Leave the review at either Apple or Spotify, and we will bribe you with either my DHA or my dopamine webinar. Just send the screenshot to Improvement Warrior Fitness at mail, or improvementwarrior@mail.com, and let me know if you want the DHA or the dopamine webinar. Otherwise, thank you in advance. Have a great day. Stay strong. Stay positive. Be the Improvement Warrior.